Thanks so much for having me, Brand Innovators and Porsche, and I'm so excited for the car that I'll pick up on the way out. No? Is that a rumor? Okay, well. Anyways, the objectives today are to explore loyalty program evolution, highlight personalization and customer retention, and showcase data-driven approaches. So I'm going to jump right into a hard question, and, why not? It's, just right before lunch. Let's just punch it out. Let's go into challenges. Let's just get the hard one out of the way. What makes your program challenging and not a one-size-fits-all approach? Because we have so many different brands here, so many different demographics, target audiences. So let's talk about challenges first. Let's get through it, and then we can ease along.
Me first?
Yeah,
I'll
go
start
for
down
it.
here. So, Lanna O'Connor, I lead the RaceTrac Rewards program through RaceTrac. I also oversee the CRM teams, the marketing technology team. We do it kind of all, we're a one-stop shop, but from a program perspective, what makes my job difficult is, and I'm sure this is probably going to be a theme that you hear, it's the various types of users that we need to cater to within our program. So from a fuel convenience store standpoint, our strategy has shifted over the past few years from just that auto consumer to more of that backcourt is what we call it, but a professional driver. So you're driving a semi-truck. You have very different wants and needs than someone who is coming in on their commute to get gas, grab a soda, and go. So we needed a program that catered to everyone, which is not easy to do. So we've spent the past few years really looking at our program, making sure it's fit for purpose for everyone involved.
I can briefly touch on it. I actually work in customer experience design, so we have a whole host of folks within our loyalty program, but I have the privilege of partnering with them very frequently. And as it relates to driving loyalty and as it relates to customer experience, just keeping up with the evolving customer expectations and the evolving customer needs is one of the challenges that we are constantly looking to figure out how do we do better.
And if you need any hints, Platinum Medallion 922. Matt, I think sorry. Matt, and then, sorry.
And then, sorry, I'll go ahead. Sure. So Matt Bettis, Senior Director of Customer Engagement and Loyalty at GoTo Foods. I've been impressed. Several people have said, when your name different, when we were Focus Brands 10 months ago, change to GoTo Foods. It is the owner of restaurant brands McAllister's, Moe's, Schlotzsky's, Cinnabon, Carvel, Auntie Anne's, and Jamba. So a lot of good restaurant brands. So when we talk about challenges, one of them is just that we're so broad, right? I mean, those are big national brands, so we have to, like many of these brands that I've heard, Hyatt, Delta, all of these, have to cater to an audience that is every demographic, every age, everything else. I think the other big difficult part for us is, incrementality is a number, revenue is a number, loyalty is emotional. When we're trying to drive emotional loyalty and we have a franchise base, if they are not bought in, it's not going to happen, right? So we have to really bring the franchisees along and make sure they understand why these programs we're doing are beneficial. Why does it not only benefit their guests, but why does it benefit them as well? And that is extremely challenging with a broad franchise base.
Jaclyn?
Jaclyn Adams, IHG Hotels and Resorts. So those of you who are not familiar with our brands, Holiday Inn, Kimpton, Holiday Inn Express, Candlewood Suites. So a wide variety. There's 19 of them, actually. And that is one of our biggest challenges. We want to cater, similar to what RaceTrac is up against, we need to cater to the extended stay traveler, the business traveler, the next gen traveler, the luxury traveler with the uber luxury traveler. So that's tricky. We know that if a member stays in our hotel and they have a great experience, amazing. If they have a bad experience, they may not come back to any of our brands. So that's one of the main challenges just on a day-to-day. I would also say at a tactical level, a bit of a challenge is always on fraud and privacy. So that's getting into the technology pieces I think we'll talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you. Yes.
Great way.
Great lead-in. Thank you. So personalization is the key to building strong customer relationships. I think a lot of you just touched on that. How do you incorporate personalization into your loyalty strategies? What techniques or technologies have successfully made your customers feel seen or valued?
Order. Yeah, sure. Don't know if we're going in order, just let me know.
No.
So personalization, yeah. So we've heard a lot of talk. I think almost every single speaker up here has talked in some way about artificial intelligence. I think when people use artificial intelligence these days, generally they're talking about generative AI, so content, videos, images, copy, things like that. I'm actually very bullish on what, I mean, is technically artificial intelligence, but it was, I think Jake with Delta talked about it, machine learning. So we have a machine learning engine that we built to specifically target not only content to specific guests, but offers as well. If you think about it at the very highest level, people are organically just coming into restaurants based on they're just hungry that day and it's just near their house or something. What can we do to make sure that we're driving incremental visits? Well, if you haven't been in 6 or 7 months, we probably need to get you a pretty decent discount to get you in, versus that person coming in every week. If we're giving them a deep discount, all we're doing is subsidizing their existing behavior. They're thrilled to get it. I mean, I would love to get 20% off the thing I was about to buy anyway, but we haven't actually driven anything for the business. So using that machine learning engine where I could take this room of people and segment you into different groups and target you with an offer, but I can't take 8 million people and do that. The machine can. So it's not only doing that, it then also can target specific content. I'll use one example real quick from a previous life. When I was working at Inspire Brands on Buffalo Wild Wings, it was very tied to sports fandom, right? People come in to cheer for their sports teams. Well, if you come in every Saturday in the fall using inferred preferences, we can say you're a college football fan. That's just what you are, right? Because we know that would be why you would only come in Saturday during those times. Then we can use that personalization to drive a really emotional connection with you. When we're sending you an email, it's not a hockey image if you're a football fan, stuff like that. So big fan, very bullish on machine learning and personalization as part of customer engagement and loyalty.
What if you're just a barbecue chicken fan?
Well,
Did you have that too?
Then just the server and barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
And a big beer.
There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel not seen as a consumer.
right, exactly.
I talk a lot about what loyalty means every day, and I talk a lot to the team and to our business partners and our colleagues, our agencies, about how when you stay at IHG, any of our hotels, you are spending a night. It's a private moment. You're spending time away from your family. It's probably a minimum of $100. It's different. Loyalty is different across different segments and different retail, things like that. So we really need to be mindful of the experience and the moment that person is spending with us. And one of the things that is interesting is when you're in the hospitality industry during COVID, it's sort of like one of those career-changing moments where we had to turn off all of our marketing. And we had to turn it back on in a thoughtful way. And so one of the elements that we wanted to do was do that in a more personal way. Travel is personal. And so everything from how do we reimagine our entire life cycle strategy? That is our one-to-one trigger-based strategy. That consisted of an opportunity where I would say we would never have done that had COVID not happened. We would never have taken the chance to just turn off what was working okay to turning it on to a really robust system that is over 2,500 assets and growing that underpins everything we do. And those are very personal moments. Those are recognizing you when you check out. Those are recognizing you when you've stayed at multiple brands. Birthday, anniversary, when you just redeemed for a reward night, when you are about to get close to a reward night. There are many moments that matter. It's not just about status, it's really about recognizing the traveler in that key moment because hospitality is so personal. I would also say that we have to make sure that in all of our marketing, not just our one-to-one trigger-based marketing, that it's very personal. We know we're a global company, Japanese travelers, or Japanese, I would say, residents, Japanese members conceive or consume data and information differently. They are okay with long form. They are okay with having multiple offers in an email, whereas a German resident might need their content very straightforward. They don't really want any fluff and, how are you today? They want just give me the offer, give me the benefit, and let's go. So it's really about making sure that you're not only meeting the member where they are, but that you're doing it in a really personal way. So time, content, and relevancy, and of course, across the channel, all the way from our own media to in the hotel. Long answer.
Great answer.
One of the things I love about working in the space of personalization is that it can show up in many different ways. And it's very interesting when you even I could ask all of you in this room, like, how do you define personalization? There's probably 50 or so of you in this room, and I'm probably gonna get 48 different answers, right, as to what does personalization mean. And so we're really trying to understand what are customers' preferences in terms of how they want to be recognized, and ensuring that we're reaching them in that particular way. And oftentimes that really starts with, feels a little bit more general, But then the more we learn about our customers and the more intelligent we get about our customers, we can then begin to drive more one-to-one personalization. So one experience that we launched not too long ago, probably about a year ago, that I really love is our medallion birthday. And what I love about this experience is that it not only shows up in a digital format, but also shows up and has the opportunity to have that high touch in-person format, which that recognition in person is so critical to just building that trust and that loyalty from our customers. So essentially what happens, if any of you are, how many of you are medallions in here? So I hope you have experienced this with us. If you're traveling around your birthday, for instance, we'll send you a digital notification and we will send you a birthday voucher where you can have a drink on us, right? And so what I love about that is it provides you the opportunity to, number one, feel recognized in a digital format. But then number two, when you get on the plane and you're handing that over to a flight attendant, she's also able to see, or he is also able to see, wow, happy birthday, right? And acknowledge you and recognize you in that moment as well. And so that's what I really enjoy about personalization is how do we begin to do more of blending, you know, that digital and in person, but really making those high touch moments feel very important for our customers.
And I think it's so interesting because you got a lot of you work in industries or companies where there's so many consumers going through the door a day, right? How many flights, how many hotels and visitors, right? And people buying Auntie Annie's and all the things. How many pretzels do they sell? But when someone gives you that note or knows that you're a Delta medallion and thanks you, there's something special about that, and you don't expect it from a big organization.
And that's something that Delta does really well, and it's very hard not to crack, is that in-person recognition. It's so hard, especially when you're in a world probably more like Jaclyn and I, where there's a lot of employee turnover, and there's just a lot that has to go into getting that. So very, very important. From my perspective, I think we look at personalization similar to what a lot of the panel has said around offers, but we also are a very app-forward program. So we've leveraged our app to give almost everyone a really unique experience every time you open the app. So we know our customers, you know, from a C-store, they want speed of service. They want to get in and out. They want to save money, and they want to get something out of that experience. So when we talk about our professional driver, for example, so if you're a professional driver and you open our app, it's going to look much different than when I open the app. So you'll have the ability to prepay for a CAT scale in advance. You'll be able to place an order at an upcoming travel center for a slice of pizza and a drink so you can get on your way faster. So we've been able to look at that experience and the customer data, insights around what they want, and make sure the app is really prioritizing what they need to get out of it, in addition to the offers and messaging. And from an auto driver perspective, that means, you know, we want to keep you going. We don't want you to be standing in line trying to clip a bunch of coupons. So one of the benefits we offer is all of your offers are automatically applied every day. Pros and cons to that from a profitability standpoint on our side, but it's been a big win for our guests.
Let's talk a bit about leveling up. You know, I think obviously as marketers, attention is harder to get. Fragmentation is real, detention spans are shorter. How do you level up? So thinking about how do you meet those high expectations that folks have for your brands, and balancing that with your business objectives, right? So you have to hit the bottom line, but you also have to continue to climb, as they say. I swear they're not paying me to be here. I just love Delta. So how do you balance those loyalty programs to benefit both the customer and also the bottom line of your companies?
Sure, I'm happy to go. So I think in most B2C industries and a lot of B2B industries, loyalty is no longer optional, right? This isn't like a nice to have, it is required. There's certainly pros and cons to that from a business perspective, but it's a fact. We have to have a loyalty program. Now when you think about new customer acquisition, there's so much money spent in any industry on acquiring new guests or customers. And oftentimes there is less spent on retaining the existing, especially those high value guests that you have. Now, when you think about spending money on retaining a high value guest, it might not be spent in the way you're traditionally thinking of it. It could be spent in terms of something you were talking about, making an experience for them that is costly that you have to pay for. It could be, in our case, ongoing discounts, right? they're going to get a better rate on their loyalty points. They're going to get deeper discounts sometimes because they're that high value guest. It's going to hurt that much more if we lose someone who's coming in once a month or even once a week than someone who comes once or twice a year. So I think sort of shifting that mentality to less on dollars spent in terms of acquisition and an actual expense, and occasionally that manifests as dilution to revenue to retain those guests and make sure that you have a program ongoing for the future. I think that's very important.
One thing that makes me think for hotels and our company is that everything we do at IHG, loyalty is very mature. Every employee gets status. Every employee knows that when you book on the employee rate, you can get status. And we have robust teams that work with our on-property teams to ensure that they are trained on how to deliver loyalty when a guest checks in. Additionally, owners. We're a largely franchised organization, and so we work very hard to communicate to owners the value that being part of a broad company like IHG Hotels and Resorts and how loyalty can connect the dots and bring you more guests and more members to your hotel. So we know, we've said it a lot up here, that members, and at least at IHG Hotels and Resorts, they pay more, they stay more, and they're going to be more loyal, especially if we're delivering the experience. So loyalty is permeated throughout every shareholder, employee, colleague, right down to the front desk. So it's important. And so we don't have a lot of question about the value of loyalty. We measure it through lifetime value, and we can do that, but it's something that's a culture that's permeated.
I'll speak to it, and this will be probably a right turn from how it was answered previously, but from a business bottom line and trying to make the guests happy and make it work for the business, it can be really hard. We're a program that was launched in 2016, so we are a very immature loyalty program. And it was launched, and there was no one hired to keep the program running. It just kept going. We had like a quarter of a person who was sending out some loyalty communications. So the program just kept growing and growing and growing. It got very top heavy. And we have never expired tiers. Now imagine what that can look like when you have a lot of folks sitting in that highest tier getting your biggest benefit that may no longer be giving you in return that same value. So it can get very expensive if you don't have someone to very closely monitor your program. And we are kind of in that position today where we're going to have to wind back some things that our guests really love today because it's just not working anymore for the business. And it's thinking through, how do you do that in a really thoughtful way where you say, I'm going to say this thing that you're not going to like, but I'm going to give you something in return that's going to hopefully fill that gap, but it's also going to be a better value exchange for both the user and the business. So we're in the midst of that right now. I know others have come before us, and it can be pretty rocky because there's going to be some people that are unhappy. But it's unfortunately kind of a reality of a loyalty program that when you start, you have no idea how big it can get, and then it gets really big. So that's where we are today, and I think that's something that, when you think through the future, you have to be really thoughtful about what if this thing really blows up, and then make sure that it's still going to work for you before you launch something. It's easy to add, but it's hard to take away.
Really?
Okay, changes. I know, but I kind of hopped over that question because I had a room of like 75% medallions. I felt like everyone understood and knew the value of the program here.
We're getting the 5-minute hook, so they're going to start playing the Academy music soon. So with that, I'll just ask one final question. Love for everyone to sort of give me their point of view. What are the emerging trends that you're really excited about?
I would say for me, it's funny, there isn't one particular trend that I'm excited about. What I am doing is I live with 2 Gen Zers in my house. I have an 11-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son, and I'm actually watching how they are interacting with media and how they are interacting with brands. And it's amazing. Like, the concept of searching for something for them is like, that's too much work. Like, they are looking for brands to immediately serve them up what they think fits them. I can't even ask them to make a Christmas list, to be honest with you, because they want to just turn on their phone and hopefully whatever ads pop up really resonate and somehow mom is going to get it. And So I'm really, seriously though, I'm really watching how they interact with brands, which brands they actually stick and what platforms they actually stick and interact with, because I think that's really going to be the future. And we're going to begin to see older, more legacy brands shift in that direction as well.
I was going to say, so I'm very jealous of like Jaclyn, a lot of what you were talking about IHG and loyalty just permeates everything there. I know Delta, similar situation, right? I think what I'm excited about in the restaurant space, so I'm a data person, but what I want when loyalty is that emotional connection, I want data to be brought into an in-person experience. People are not loyal to data, they're loyal to humans, right? If we can, using data, inform that real world experience and make sure that it is optimized for that guest and then create that connection with the server, with the owner, and the guest, that's what I'm really excited about for loyalty.
Yeah, similar to what you're just saying about the technology, I don't have a particular trend that I'm excited about, unless you call technology a trend, which maybe it is. It's here to stay, I think. But for us, we are relooking at our platform and making some enhancements to our loyalty platform, and what that is going to unlock and deliver from a personalization and a member one-to-one experience will just be game changer for us and at IHG. So excited about that.
Yeah, same for us. We're in the midst of a digital transformation, as I'm sure some of you have either there, you've been through it, you know how that goes, but we're sitting on a lot of antiquated technology that requires a lot of manual effort from my team. So there's a lot more that we can do with the right tech partners in place. So hopefully this time next year, we'll be doing a lot more personalization than we do today. But I think that's going to unlock a lot of doors.
Great. Thank you guys so much for this conversation, and thank you, Brand Innovators and Porsche, for having us.